Good evening, guys. We'll start. We give 1 or 2 minutes to others, but as a bonus, let's discuss a couple of questions. So, which I think we covered the retros, and what do we have to do now? Okay, yeah. Can anybody out of you tell me the retros? So what are the different formats of retros that we are aware of? People are there or
Stop, start, and continue. 4L.
Hmm.
Stop, start, and continue.
Stop, start, continue.
4Ls.
Hmm. Those two. Then
Only techniques, na, sir? You asked only techniques.
different formats. Correct. Those two and Arey, this is a very popular question. They will ask you. Start, stop, continue, mad, glad, sad.
Starfish.
Starfish. We did 4Ls also. We did a 4L practical. Like, learned, lack, longed for. What else?
Sir, what is the question? I just joined.
The question is, what are the different formats of sprint retrospective?
Okay. Okay.
And why do you use different formats?
To cut down the boredom.
To cut down the boredom, sometimes people will feel bored with the same format. So you will try various formats. You should know at least 5, 6, 7 formats. You already saw 2 formats. So how will you make retrospectives more effective if the team is not participating, they are not very enthusiastic? What are you going to do to make it more fun, engaging, productive? One, of course, I told you, you will rotate the formats to keep it engaging. What else?
We can give shout outs to whoever has done a good job throughout the
Kudos
sprint.
or shout outs. So we can add what do you like, what do you don't like, what are the suggestions, and the kudos vote like we saw yesterday or day before. So kudos vote or appreciation, everybody likes to be appreciated. So you can add the appreciation rounds or something like that. Yes, given. What else? Those are two. What else?
Dopamine.
Dopamine. That's your dopamine.
That's good. Kudos, yeah.
Yes, that's your kudos. What else? What else? It can be a data-driven event where you can share the metrics with them, tell them their data, cycle time, velocity, lead time. What are those? We'll get into that. Your code, quality of the code. So we can give them some numbers. How many stories are they doing? How many bugs are they doing? We can talk numbers to them. We'll see how to do that, but that is involve data basically. Then what else? They will ask you, how will you make the retros more engaging, or what makes you a very good scrum master? So you say you have very effective techniques of doing retrospectives. How? I rotate it. There are multiple formats that I use, blah blah blah, which we discussed yesterday or day before. Then I involve data in retrospectives. I give them the data. Look at the time that on an average you are spending on fixing the bugs. So is it more or less? And then we can do a discussion on it. And then you can tell them focus on Only 1 or 2 improvement points, not more than that. 1 or 2 suggestions, not more than that. Otherwise, they will feel overwhelmed. So these are the 4 or 5 ways how you can keep it more engaging or more productive. What else? What else? What else? I think retrospectives we have more or less covered only. How do you document your retrospectives?
In the Confluence.
Confluence.
In the- And you guys can do that. You can, in the previous session, we discussed it, so you can practice Confluence. Okay. Okay, let's talk about, okay, few enough people are there. Okay. Let's talk about very important concept today now. I think, do you all like eggs? I turned vegan and then, but I couldn't stay away from eggs. There's a reason why I'm talking about eggs. We are going to talk about different kinds of eggs today, in the sense, how do we prepare different kinds of eggs? Seriously. Why that? Why I'll get into. So let us say I have to boil an egg. It's a very simple thing, isn't it? Does everybody know how to boil an egg? You guys must be wondering what is this today. We'll see. So boiling an egg, who does not know how to boil an egg? It's very simple. You just put the bowl, put water, put egg, wait for 2, 3, 4 minutes, and that's it. Everybody knows, right? It's very simple. Everybody knows it. There is no complication. There is no risk. Worst case, what will happen? It will break. That's it. Nothing. It will not shatter the world. So there is no risk. There is no uncertainty. It's a very simple process. Everybody knows it. So this is your 1 pointer. What am I doing? I am estimating the effort in preparing egg. And can I say this is just a 1 pointer because it's a very simple exercise. Everybody knows it. It's a simple process. There is no uncertainty. There is nothing. Correct? So I can say this is what I'm doing is I'm doing an exercise where I am trying to estimate the effort involved in preparing different kinds of eggs. And you have to do the same thing in your functionalities. How you do that, we'll get to that. But is this absolutely clear that boiling an egg is a 1 point exercise? Because it is very simple. Everybody knows this. There's no uncertainty and all. Now, preparing a half fry, sunny side up. You guys tell me, is it 2 times more difficult, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times? And you can put your estimation in the chat. So I hope the question is clear. The question is, we are assuming that boiling an egg is a very simple exercise. Everybody knows it. Very simple, no uncertainty, no risk. Very, very simple process. I can call it as a 1 pointer because it is very simple. Everybody knows it. Compared to boiling an egg, how much more effort, how much more uncertainty, how much more risk is there in cooking half fry egg? See, you have to put a pan, you have to put some oil, you have to break the egg, you have to put some chili or whatever, and you have to oversee whether it burns from the sides. So there is, so in your opinion, what is your 2 times? Everybody has to do this exercise 2 times, 4 times, 10 times, 100 times, and whatever you feel. Honestly, you can even, in one of the groups, somebody was saying 8 points because they have to break the egg at a particular angle, otherwise it will not. So I said, okay, fine. So you got, so yeah, everybody has to do it. Very important that you all do this. So 3 pointer, 2 pointer, 3 pointer, 4 pointer, 4 pointer. Then Kiran says 2 pointer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 responses out of 10. Arey, respond, yeah. What we are doing is essentially playing planning poker. This is planning poker. What are we doing? We are comparing a base activity, which is boiling an egg, which we mark it as a 1 pointer, and we are comparing it with some other activity and we are trying to do a comparison. Let us say I have to go out for one day. For one day, I have to go out, some office visit. I will go in the morning and come back in the evening tomorrow. So I have to pack my bags. Can I say it's a 1-point activity? Oh, Abhilasha says 8-pointer because I have skill gap means I am fully vegetarian. No, but that doesn't mean you cannot eat it. But in terms of effort, the effort is still same, right? Of course, you will not do it. You will not touch it. That's fine. I get it. But if
But
you were to touch,
what if I have never touched it? How I will know how to break it or something?
yes, yeah. This is fine. She has a very
Yes.
valid point. See, now let us understand. See, some people are saying 2 points, some are saying 3, some are saying 4, and Abhilasha is an outlier. She says 8 points.
Because if I need to do that work, then for me
Yes,
it might take
yes,
time.
yes. But in this case, me or Wasim or Priyanka or Rupa, somebody will say, okay, we will show you. It is a very simple thing. It's not. So you will say, so this is exactly what happens in real time also. What are we doing? We are trying to assess people that how much is this, what is their estimation of how much effort there is in making a half fry, how much risk is there, how much. So a lot of people are saying, so most common answer is 3. So Venkatesh sir says 2. Why do you say 2, Venkatesh sir?
Because
Why
it's
not
an e-
3? Why
I
not?
because I already done it and it's an easy task. I know what are the problems that occur and how to mitigate this thing.
Okay. So Rupa, you say it is 4 times more difficult than boiling an egg. 4
Yeah.
times.
So
Why do
first of all, breaking is easy. Breaking the egg is easy.
you?
So putting the salt, it's an accurate. You have to make it. And breaking the eggs is easy, but while taking that half boil, it should not break it, right? That half boiled thing.
It's not half boiled. What we are making is half fry. So you have to
Right.
break it
Okay.
and
Okay. That
okay.
consistency of salt or pepper or something, it should be equal, or it
Okay.
should be tastable. It should not go beyond that. So
Okay. So if I say that, okay, you have to take very small spoon and small spoon is already there. So you just have to pick it and pour it on the, that resolves your problem, right? So let
yes.
us say we already have a standard measure of salt.
Okay.
Then,
Then
would
it
you
is
say
easy.
from 4, should it be 3 or
It
2?
can be two then.
It can be 2 then. Okay. So
Because if we know the concept, it is easy. If we doesn't know, it is.
beautiful, beautiful. So what are we doing? We are understanding a requirement. Ultimately, these points are irrelevant. What is more important is this conversation, that everybody understands the requirement. They start talking about it so that any confusions are. So what we'll do, this was a very basic example. We'll do it with the login functionality epic. But the point I'm trying to make again, so what have we done? We have taken a baseline. Baseline was boiling an egg. Why we took that as a baseline? Because it is a very simple thing. Everybody knows it. So when you are estimating stories also, you have to take a baseline, which is a story, which is a requirement, which everybody understands. Everybody in the team understands that requirement. There is nobody who does not like boiling an egg. Everybody knows it. So we will take a baseline story, which is a very basic story. Everybody in your team understands it, and they choose which story to pick up as a baseline. They can choose, the team can choose that. So you say whatever story is easy, everybody understands, let's pick that story for a baseline story. So boiled egg in this case was the uh, Is this absolutely okay? So now, once you take the baseline, then you ask the team that, boss, why don't you? We'll get into your questions. So then you ask them that, boss, why don't you give your estimation? So people will give their estimation, and then the conversation starts. So most of you are saying 3 or 2, whatever are the outliers, people who are saying 8, people who are saying very less or very more, you have to ask them why are they saying less or more. They have to explain their position. Like Abhilasha, everybody else is saying 2 or 3, she is saying 8. Why is she saying? Because she says she does not know the process. So then everybody says, no, don't worry, it is not an 8. This is not a huge. So in this case, we have to integrate a Face ID login. So somebody says this is 20 times more difficult. The other guy says, okay, don't worry, I have worked on it, something like this. This is not that difficult. So this is what actually happens. We'll get into that. So now break the egg, pour it in. We already know how much salt and pepper you have to use. So can we do another round? Can we say it is a 2 or a 3? Or does anybody disagree? It is maybe maximum it is 3 times more difficult, but not 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Can I say that? Or do you, anybody can object me that, and this is, I'm just acting like a Scrum Master. I'm facilitating this. So people will say 3, 5, 8, 10, whatever they have to say. Then you will ask them to explain their position, like, okay, let's do one more. So, but half right, do we all agree that it is maybe a 3-pointer? Let's make it a 3 times more difficult. Do we all agree, or still somebody disagrees? So first, in the first round, people say their numbers, and if we don't agree, we ask them to explain positions, then we have a discussion, then again there is voting. Then now let us say all of you will say 3 or whatever. Still somebody can say 5, 8 or whatever, and then we could still have another discussion. Okay, let's do one more round. So let's make masala omelette. So now there is more. You have to beat it. You have to cut the vegetables. You have to put some cheese. Now there is more effort. There are maybe two utensils there. You have to beat it something, and you need a pan. So more effort. Then you have to clean it also. Then so now is it, so compared to a boiled egg, how much is a masala omelette? Let's do that in next 30 seconds. One other concept. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Actually, this should be at the same time so that people don't get influenced. So there are tools I'll show you. You can do this in Miro also. That we'll talk. But let's get the concept first. 4, 5, 6, all those different numbers. Okay. So we never use linear scale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't use that sort of scale, because what we believe in Agile is that as you increase the complexity of a task, the task will not increase in a linear fashion. That is one. The other aspect is people will end up spending hours on just 6 or 7. No, it is 6. No, it is 7. No, it is 4. So this is an unnecessary debate. You don't want that precision. These are all guesstimates. I mean, which is more heavier, a cap or what do you call a brick? Which is heavier, a cap or a brick?
Brick.
Obviously, right? So you don't have to know the exact weight of a cap, or you don't have to know the exact weight of a brick. That is exactly your relative estimation. You don't need to know the exact weight or exact things. You are just guesstimating it. You are just estimating it. based on, and relative estimations are easy. If I ask you what is the weight of a cap and what is the weight of a brick, I don't know. 2 milligrams, 10 milligrams, God knows. But within a second, you could say, okay, which is more heavier? Easily, brick is heavier. So that is the entire concept of estimation. You are just guessing it based on your past experience.
Sir, we are using Fibonacci series.
No, that we'll get into. So why we use Fibonacci series is because as you grow in the complexity of the task, for example, from half fry to masala omelette, from masala omelette to, let us say, we have to make now egg biryani, which is even more cumbersome than a omelette. So as the complexity of the tasks increase, the risk uncertainty also increases, but it does not increase in a linear fashion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are linear progressions. Between a task which is 6 and 7, there is hardly any difference. So you say 1, 2, 3, then you say 5, then you say 8, then you say 13. Why? Because 1 and 2 is 3, 2 and 3 is 5, 3 and 5 is 8. Every next number is a combination of previous two numbers. So this is how the complexity or the uncertainty works in real life also. If you look at our body proportions, lot of things in this nature are based on this Fibonacci ratios only. If you look at the share price movement or weather patterns, lot of things in life are based on your Fibonacci ratios. So that is why we use Fibonacci series, because we say 1 pointer, then we say this is a 2 pointer, then if you combine these two, then it becomes the 3 pointer, then 2 and 3 pointer becomes a 5 pointer, 3 and 5 pointer becomes an 8 pointer, 5 and 8 pointer becomes a 13 pointer. So a story can be a 1 pointer, 2 pointer, 3 pointer, 5 pointer, 8 pointer, 13 pointer, or a 20 or a 21 pointer, whatever you want to call it. So this is how you assess the stories in a Fibonacci way, because the complexity and the size of a story does not grow linearly. So if the difference between, so this is 3, masala omelette could be 5. Can I say 5 or somebody disagrees? You can disagree also. Can I say masala omelette as 5?
8.
Yes.
8. Why do you say 8?
Because we have to cut vegetables clean and make it
So
complex.
compared to a boiled egg, it is 5 times more effort or 8 times more effort? Or
Oh,
5
that-
times will cover that extra work that you have to do.
8 times.
Okay.
Again, we are not talking about time here.
Mm.
We are not saying this will take 1 minute, this will take 10 minutes, this will take 100 minutes. We are only talking about the effort, uncertainty, the risk in it. I mean, in omelette, a lot of things can go wrong. Compared to a boiled egg, there are more things that can go wrong. So, for example, but how will you teach the team? That is second part to it. First, let's get into it. So this is clear, and they will ask you in the interview, why use a Fibonacci series? Because as you rate these tasks, basically you are rating the tasks. So if I have to build a login functionality, what are the things we are going to build in it? In login functionality, we discussed the other day. If you have to build a login functionality, I'm going to create with an email and a password. I need to log in. I need to log in securely. I need to reset my password, or maybe I can allow a guest login. So these are 4 different kinds of stories or requirements for a login functionality. Now, if I were to do a comparison between these things, that will be easier. How to do that is second step. First step is let's understand with food, because food is, we all understand food easily. Then we will get into the function. So first is compared to making an omelette. If I say omelette is 5 and biryani is 6, then it's an endless debate. But as you go along the complexity cycle or path, the complexity increases more and more. So that is why the distance between the successive numbers is more in Fibonacci, and it truly reflects the uncertainty as you do bigger and more complex tasks. Is this perfectly clear to you? Why do you use Fibonacci series rather than a linear progression of natural numbers 1, 2, 3, 4? Why don't you use that? Because the difference between a 5-pointer and a 6-pointer is very marginal. But between a 5-pointer and 8-pointer, it is a significant difference. So making a masala omelette could be a 5-pointer, making an egg biryani could be an 8-pointer, because there is a considerable difference between the requirements of these two tasks. So let me give you another example. You can rate it. So I have to prepare, I have to pack for just 1-day trip. Can I say that is a 1-pointer? Now I have to pack for a weekend. How much is that? Instead of 1 overnight stay, now I am going for 2 nights.
2.
2 or 3. 2 or 3. Now I have to go for a 1-week trip. How much is that? Maybe
5-pointer. This is 5.
5-pointer.
Understandable.
Some of you can say 8-pointer also. If you ask my wife, she will say 20. She will carry all whatever she has to. She's not there, so I can say all these things. So, but you understand. So it depends. So, but again, for standard responses are your 5-pointer. Now, let us say I have to go somewhere for 1 month. Compared to a overnight packing, this is how many times more? You tell me
20.
whatever you think. You could tell me 100, 20, 10,
20.
whatever.
30.
So
20.
compared to an overnight trip, now you have to go for 1 month. How much more effort is there going to be in, and how much more risk they are going to be? You may miss your shaving kit. For a 1-day trip, it is not a huge risk. But for a 1-month trip, if you miss your shaving kit, then you have to spend, if it's a electric shaver, you have to spend 2,000-3,000. That's the financial risk there, isn't it? You have to consider, if you make a mistake in a 1 overnight trip, then it is not going to cost you money. But if you miss out on things on a monthly trip, you are going to spend a lot of money, or you are going to make those misses. Maybe you miss your charger. For 1 day, you can adjust. But for a month, nobody is going to give you an extra charger. You'll have to spend that money. So that's a huge risk. So compared to a 1-pointer overnight trip, this 1 month is how much?
20.
20.
Some people can say 30 also. Depends, whatever. And 30 means it is, we have to break down further. Anyway, that's a different thing. So you understood. This is a very important concept. Now, what we are doing is we are doing relative estimation. Relative estimation is we assess the tasks or the stories or the requirements based on how much effort there is, how much complexity there is, how much risk there is in doing those things. If we have done something like this before, then it is easy. But if we have not done something like that before, then it is a high risk. Why did Abhilasha say 8 points? Because she had not done that kind of a thing earlier. So the risk was higher that she could go wrong. So obviously things which are new to us, the risk will be higher. The uncertainty will be higher. So complexity, some things are very relatively simple, like boiling an egg. Egg biryani is a lot of complicated. You add masalas, you have to get the spices right. Maybe some people may like vegetables, some have different styles. So there is a lot of variations to it. There is a lot of things that we have to worry about. So that increase. So the more complex the story is, the more points there will be. The more things you don't know about a story, the more points will be. And then we will, so on a basic level, this is how it works. So story points are an imaginary unit of estimation which we use to assess requirements in terms of effort, risk, and uncertainty. Remember, we are not using time. But all the bad organizations, all the toxic organizations, they will force you to use time. And I will explain you how to use time also. Because you can't change the world we live in, right? You have to accept it. If they use time, oh, beautiful. Nice. We'll do that also. Don't criticize anybody because we need salary. So, but ideally, we do not prefer, and there could be people who are actually good at agile. They could be questioning you, why do we not use hours and why do we use story points? For that, I'll give you the answer. But for now, you understood. So estimations are nothing but you are estimating the effort in required to do particular tasks in terms of risks, uncertainty, and effort. And this is not ours, but only these three things. And you use a Fibonacci scale. There is one other scale that you can use, which is t-shirt sizing. So I would say boiling an egg is S, small, very simple process. It's a small size t-shirt. Making a half fry is 2 or 3 times more difficult. You have to put a pan or some other things, put on oil, so on and so forth. So I will call it a medium tasks, medium complexity, medium risk. Then making an omelette, it is more complicated. So let us call it a L. L is more complex, more risk, more things to do. So S, M, and L. At a very basic level, you can mark your stories as small size, medium size, or large size. And let us say you are now want to create a 18th century Mughliya egg biryani. Now that is bullshit. I don't know what that is. That is a huge effort. Let's call it Excel. It's a huge effort, cumbersome things. So in terms of t-shirt sizing also, you can accommodate these tasks. So can I say overnight trip is S, weekend trip is M, 1 week trip is L, going somewhere for a 1 month is XL. I am just rating these tasks in terms of t-shirt. So t-shirt sizes. So t-shirt sizes is one way of rating these tasks. Planning using Fibonacci series is another way of rating these tasks. Then let's rate more and more so as to get the more ideas. So estimations are done in order to assess how much effort is there. The bottom line of this, all of this is that you want team to discuss the requirements so as to know what are the hidden agendas, assumptions, whether UI is there, Java part is there, DB part is there, how much testing is there. We will discuss that in terms of real-time stories now after we are done with this example. So now, yeah, Kiran, now let's take your question and then move ahead.
My first question is like how we will be calculating the pointers in the Fibonacci series. It will be like 1 to 50 or else 1 to 100. How it will be like?
1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and 21.
Okay. Max is?
Max is 21. You don't go beyond 21. Anything which is more than 21, then you break it down further. That's a very complex requirement. You can't do it. Nobody can comprehend. So you don't go beyond 21.
Okay. Even in t-shirt sizing also, if
using 21, they use 20 also. But typically your Fibonacci series is 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. But some teams don't use 21. They use it 20. But anything beyond 20, that's bonkers. You are not going to do that story. It is too complicated.
In t-shirt sizing, it is Excel. If it is more than
Excel stories, normally you will subdivide it.
And
We'll
my
get to
second
stories. We'll get to actual stories, and then we'll talk about
and my second doubt is like how this the team will discuss, in which call they will discuss, on in planning or else
grooming.
in
If they do it in
grooming call.
planning, then they are done. It is the grooming call where they discuss these estimations. How do they do that? We'll get into it. First, just understand the egg and all this business. We'll get to the real-time story now. First, understand the concept first. The concept is you are not trying to find out each and so let us say between Nano and Mercedes, which is a bigger size?
Mercedes.
Obviously. Between a Nano, Mercedes, and a road roller, which is the biggest size?
Road roller.
Road roller. How
Yeah, that's
easy
all.
this is. Now, I don't need to know what is the exact dimensions of these things, right?
Yeah,
I can just easily tell this is small, this is medium, this is large, this is extra large. This is exactly what you have to do. A small story is 1 or 2 pointer. A medium story is 3 or a 5 pointer. A large story is 8 pointer. An extra large story is a 13 pointer. That's it. People get used to it. Only for 2, 3, 4 sprints, they will struggle. After that, they will immediately look at a story and identify, oh, that's a 5 pointer. That's an 8 pointer. That's a 13 pointer. That's what you want. How much effort there is compared to a baseline story. That's all you, because if you want to ask them exact number of hours, then you are putting unnecessary pressure on these guys. Nobody knows exactly how many hours. You have to build a login functionality. There are too many. You have to create a form. You have to create some password tokens. You have to authenticate that. You have to store data. Too many things are there. Can you say you will do it in 6 hours? No, not necessarily. It could be 8 hours. It could be 12 hours, because you could get into blockers. Your dev server could crash. Somebody could go unwell. There are too many factors. You can never tell between your home to office. How much time do you take, Kiran? What is your average commute time?
It will be exercising. That means
What is the average? If you have to
average will be
estimate it?
10 to 15 points. 15
No,
points.
no. In terms of hours, now I'm asking how much.
Okay, hours it will be 1 hour.
1 hour. Can you bet everything that it will always take 60 minutes? No.
No, it will be more also sometimes.
Sometimes 1 hour, 10 minutes. It depends on traffic, your mood, the mode of transport, the time of the day. It depends. So these are only guesstimates. If people are putting pressure to exactly tell how many hours, that is such unnecessary pressure, and it takes away the entire, then you are not, see, fixing a very complex bugs could also take 5 hours. Finding some typo in a huge document could also take 5 hours. But finding a typo is a very simple task. Fixing a complex bug, fixing a complicated bug is a very, very difficult task. But both take 5 hours. So if you assess something in hours, it does not give you the correct picture of that task, how complex it is, how much uncertainty there is, what is the nature of that task. Because both of them are 5 hours. If one developer does a complicated Face ID, that bug, which is 5 hours, some developer just finds some typo errors, that also takes 5 hours. Is that the same effort? No, sir, it is not same. One was a complex task of 8 pointer, one was a very easy task of a 2 pointer. The effort and the skill level involved was completely different for these two tasks. That is why you don't use hours, because it does not reflect the real complexity, the uncertainty, the risk of what you are doing. Gada Goda sab same in hours. That's the problem. So that is, so let's get into it more now. Why do you don't, and this will be a question, if they know Agile properly, then they will ask you, why don't you do it in hours? But I'm going to teach you first why you should not do it in hours. But if they ask you, you have to do it in hours, I will show you how you have to do it in hours also. And 70% of the organizations will ask you to do it in hours, despite you telling they need hours. They're obsessed with it. I need to know how many days you will complete this. Okay, I will tell you. That also. So don't say agile is bad. Say you are going to use initially hours till the time people are comfortable with story pointing and agile. So that maturity will come to them, and call it hybrid approach. This is actually a hybrid approach. How that is done also, we'll get into more into it. So now, is everybody clear with the what is estimation? Estimation is a process where you are assessing how much effort, how much complexity, how much risk, how much uncertainty is there in doing a particular requirement. And who assesses this? The entire team assesses it. That is your estimation. And in which mode we do estimation? We use imaginary units called story points. Story points are imaginary units. I ask a very simple question in the interview. What are story points? People will give me all sorts of nonsense answers. Story points are an imaginary unit which is used to estimate stories in terms of effort, uncertainty, and risk involved doing that. Isn't it very simple? And it is based on a relative estimation concept. Relative estimation concept means you will take a baseline work, like you took boiled egg, you will take a baseline work and compare it with your current requirement and see if it is 2 times more difficult, 5 times more difficult, 8 times more difficult, 13 times more difficult. So this is the basic process of estimation. And you do it in Fibonacci series. Why do you use Fibonacci series? Because that you have to tell me now. Why do you use Fibonacci series?
Because the complexity is varying. So the complexity increases, and based on that complexity, we relatively assess.
Complexity will increase in a non-linear way, which means if some requirement is 5 times more difficult, the next requirement, if it is more difficult, it will not be 6 times more difficult or 7 times. It will be 8 times more difficult or 13 times more difficult, because as the complexity grows, it increases in an exponential manner rather than a linear manner or a non-linear manner. It will not increase in a linear manner. So that is why we use. Is this clear? Bigger task means the uncertainty will explode. Between a boiled egg and a Muglia egg biryani, or between a overnight stay and a monthly stay, the uncertainty, the requirement exploded exponentially. Okay, that is one. Then Fibonacci increases your relative thinking. Humans actually suck at exact estimates. It's very difficult to tell exactly how good you are or how bad you are, or what is the weight of two things, or how much. Sorry. So Fibonacci supports. One sec. What happened? How did this work? Hello? How did this work? Oh man. Okay, I'll call you. No, beta, I'm in the middle of a session. I'll come in a few minutes. I will come. Okay. Okay. So, and as you go along the Fibonacci series, the uncertainty, the risk increases in a non-linear fashion. So that is why we use Fibonacci, and it is a more accurate, it is more natural way of thinking rather than a linear progression. So this is why you use Fibonacci rather than your natural numbers. Okay, so now that is one question. The second question they will ask you is that, boss, why don't you use hours? What is the problem with hours? The problem with hours is that It depends on your skill. So I can make an omelette in 5 minutes. Somebody will say 15 minutes. Somebody will say 39 minutes. So it varies it varies in huge proportions. Whereas if you do this, so between a 3-pointer, so five fry was a 3-pointer, omelette was a five pointer, for everybody it is like that. But if you do it in time, then out of all you people, everybody will say a different number. So it is very difficult to give uniform sizes to these requirements, and it becomes very difficult in assessing the performance, or it decreases the predictability of why we use estimations is because we want to predict how fast or how slow we will be able to do the work. That also we'll get into. But hours you don't use because it gives you a false precision also. It feels like a contract, and you will never be able to complete things in terms of hours, because in reality there will be unknowns, blockers, rework. So you say this requirement is a medium size requirement. You don't say that it will be done in 2 days or 4 days. What if it is not done in 4 days? Then you will be on top of that developer. Why did you not do it in 4 days? He says there were few more issues that he had imagined. So how do you take that into consideration? That you say it is a medium-sized effort. You don't put that pressure of time on these guys. Otherwise, they will not be at the best of their performance. And hours only measure effort. It does not take into account complexity. Like we discuss, a highly skillful bug which will involve lot of layers. Maybe there's a bug which is UI side also it is breaking, middle layer is also breaking, DB side also there is something to be needed. Now that bug is a very complex bug and it may take 5 hours. As against this, there is something which is very tedious but very simple, and you will say both are 5 hours, but it is not an accurate representation of that particular task. And then points enable velocity tracking. How that works in your next session, velocity tracking. Then the biggest problem with hours is micromanagement. And micromanagement kills the team spirit. It promotes distrust. What were you doing for 2 hours? Why did you not do it for 4 hours? That micromanagement is, and then you compare two people. Chavan sir, you took 3 hours. Deepak sir, you took 4 hours. So if Deepak took 4 hours and Chavan sir only took 3 hours, Chavan sir is better. No. Maybe Deepak made a fluffy omelette. The quality of the omelette was way better. So that the quality of your product or the complexity of what you are doing or the uncertain, maybe Deepak is working on a requirement which enables ML data to be used, and machine learning is all new to us. He's doing a more complex task, whereas Chavan sir was doing a basic task which involved basic code operations. There was nothing big into it, very normal. So, but if you judge it with hours, then you are not getting the real picture of what you are doing. So you got this, right? So hours, and you do an unnecessary comparison between two developers, and which leads to micromanagement. It is not good. So these are, so hours you don't use because in real life we don't think in absolute terms, we think in terms of relative. Micromanagement, a false sense of precision that this will be done. Then not the complexity or the risk of or the uncertainty of doing something is not captured when you are doing it in terms of hours. So these are some of the reasons why hours should not be used, because they are absolute estimates. But in Agile, we recommend relative estimates because it is more natural to us doing relative estimates. Just like we saw, right? Between Nano, Road Roller, and a Mercedes, you were very easily able to figure out which is the bigger one. So, but how do you do that with stories? That we'll get into. So is this concepts clear? Why do we use hours? This will be 100%. They will ask you, why don't we do it in hours? Why we use Fibonacci series? Okay, let's get into the basics again. So this is your 8th slide number 8 in second presentation. This is your presentation and this should be enough for your interview needs. Okay. So what are story points? Story points are a measure used in Agile to estimate the effort, complexity, and risk involving in doing a user story or a task. You don't put user story points to bugs. There is a reason for it. So some teams do, but that's not recommended in Agile. Why? I will explain you. So story points are only for stories and not bugs. Okay. So what are the factors in story points? Complexity, effort, uncertainty, and risk. The more unknowns, so now you have to develop you have to do some AI enhancement. You have to incorporate AI. God knows this is the first time we are doing it. We don't know what that is. Even though it is simple, but we will mark it as a 8-pointer or a 13-pointer because these are difficult things to do. So more the uncertainty, more the things which we don't know, like for a monthly packing, there are a lot of unknowns. What will be the weather like? Will weather change? So more things. For an overnight stay, there are no risks and uncertainties, so less are the points. And we use Fibonacci, we use T-shirt. Why do we use story points instead of hours? It is relative size, not the exact size. And more importantly, it encourages discussion, like which we do. Some people will say 8, some people will say 5, some people will say 13. And then you will ask them, why are you saying like this? So that they can explain their understanding of the requirement. And if they are not clear with something, someone else can clear that wrong assumptions or processes which they are not aware of. So this is the main point. You want a discussion between the team, which is why you are asking for these estimates. Somebody says, oh, this is a very easy story, this is a 3-pointer. Somebody else says, no, this is an 8-pointer. Then they say, oh, why is it an 8-pointer? Oh, boss, we have to store the data in a secured manner. Data security is also there. Oh, this 3-pointer guy says, oh, I did not think about the data security aspect. See, if we did not have this discussion, we would have missed a very important data security point. And then we clarify with the product owner and the architect, oh, do we have to mask the data? He says, yes, it is a financial product. We have to mask the data. So that, oh, then the other guy says, no, 3-point is not good enough. This is actually an 8-pointer. But if this discussion does not happen, then you miss out on this requirement. Ultimately, without masking the data, if you push it to production, there is an escalation. Why this escalation happened? Is the developer bad? Is the PO bad? Is the SM bad? No. Problem is with the practice, you never discuss these requirements before taking it up. Everybody is in a rush to do coding and testing because they think that is real work. No, sir. Real work is finding out what is to be done, in what order, what detail, and thinking about smart solutions rather than straight away jumping to coding and testing. You understood? A lot of people have this misconception, coding is the real work or testing is the no, you have to finalize. So in this case, if there was no discussion, people didn't point out these various things, you could have missed out on the data masking thing. As we'll see in further stories, we'll do few stories. What I will do is I will create a story in Jira, then I will do the tasking of it. I will divide that story into tasks. Then we will do estimation, that we'll do tomorrow. And first we'll do using the perfect agile way, then we'll use using the hourly method or the hybrid approach which these people make. So there are two kinds of teams. One where teams who have full stack skills, they will be able to understand, they will be able to estimate these stories better. But there are teams which are only UI, only DB, or only QA. A QA will struggle to do estimations on the entire story because he does not know the development effort. What do we do in those situations? So we'll get into all of these details. So, but now, okay, let me go back to okay. So why use story points, not ours? You got it, and then it gave you different examples. So, and these are different methods which we'll study more and more as we go into it. Okay, now tomorrow, what are we going to do? We are going to create a story in Jira. Once we create a story in Jira, we are going to find out what are the different tasks in that story. So there are different layers in every requirement. Do you just need a UI? UI is obviously mostly in requirements there. Backend is also there, but backend may be very simple or it could be highly complex. So there is a front end, there is a backend, but there are sometimes middle layer also, your APIs or Apache or some WebSphere or Java or whatever business logic you are going to use. So there could be 3 or 4 layers of your story. First of all, you have to understand in that requirement how many layers are there in that story. And there are 2 kinds of splitting in the story. One is the horizontal splitting, other is the vertical splitting. So what are those? Don't worry about these very dangerous sounding words. Very simple things to do. Forget about those for now. But tomorrow what we are going to do is we'll take a story, divide it into different tasks, and then we will do an estimation of that. We'll run a planning poker session, then see how it goes. This will take 2 or 3 sessions before you get a very, very good idea of how to do this. So now you can ask questions on the basic of whatever we have discussed. Tomorrow we will get into tasks, then we will see how different stories are estimated in story points. Then we will see if hours to there is a mapping of story points to hours, hybrid approach. What is that? We'll get into all of that tomorrow. Yeah, Bilasha.
Okay, so in this efforts estimation, QA also gets involved, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody in the Scrum team gets involved in the estimation techniques as per the pure agile or Scrum approach.
Okay, but how QA would know, like technically, how much time or how much pointers it should take?
See, how much time are we estimating time?
No pointers. That's why I corrected myself later.
See, time you will never be able to do it, but in real life you will actually do time.
Because
Okay,
whenever we
this is
think
this
about,
is just an interview thing, but in real time, lot of they hate the idea of this pure agility. They will get into hours, so I will show you how to do that in hours also. Okay, so so there are no pure QAs in the minds of agile founders. They said the entire team sits together and understands in terms of effort how much there is complexity. QA can easily understand the complexity of something. So let us say you have to build a guest login page. So now I'm getting into technical requirements. So let us say you have to build a guest login page. That guy gets into your website but does not have a login account. It's a guest login. You don't require him to create a login. He is a guest, but he can still use your system. Now this is a very simple requirement, simple UI, not much backend. You just have to enable a web page, give that permission. You don't have to store any data. This is a very simple requirement, right? So in terms of effort, it is a very simple effort. Compared to this effort, now you have to do a multi-factor authentication. You have to use a Face ID, you have to use a thumbprint, or you have to use a phone. That sort of requirement is there. QA can also tell this is 5 times more, 8 times more, because he understands from his point of view how much more negative cases will be there, how much more negative edge cases will be there, all that stuff. So you are estimating in terms of how much effort there is to do this story, or how many challenges you will get. So Agile assumes that all of the team sits together and they don't say, oh, UI, this is a very simple thing for me to do a UI. No, you are thinking in terms of the entire requirement and estimating and you are doing a comparison between these. You are not assessing how much time you will take to do it. You are assessing in terms of effort, complexity, and risk, whether something is easy, something is medium difficult, something is very difficult, something is very complex. You are just rating those things. That's all you are doing.
But efforts equal to time, because if we actually talk कि इसमें
You can't
इतना
do it.
efforts.
I have to smoke a cigarette. This is how cigarettes work. Then they tell me, Joey, stop smoking cigarettes. Sorry, I've been smoking since school days, man. What do I do? It doesn't, right?
Yes.
Oh man, there is 2 more meetings. Right. Let me have एक cigarette पी लो. नहीं जाती cigarette भाई, वो time नहीं जाएगा.
Yes.
And just now you saw, if you do it in hours, there are so many. You will do unnecessary comparisons between developers. And if developers are subjected to unnecessary comparisons, you are giving them undue stress. It is not going to help you. Why do you compare people? Competition is not a very good thing in all the aspects of your life. Cooperation. You want your developers, testers, and PO to cooperate rather than compete. I went to one of the organizations and it was a huge team. My boss says after 2 weeks, can I have a chart? Can you give me who is the best developer, who's the second best? Can you do me a chart? I said, forget about it. You want beautiful product, you want delivery on time, that you can ask me. Then you can tell me all of those things. I'm interested. If you are telling me who is the best, then that's not my job to tell you. In Agile, we don't talk about individual performances. We talk about team performances. I am not here to judge these people. They could be good, bad. I don't care. What I care is, as a team, what are they giving you at the end of a sprint or at the end of a release? And is the product acceptable? Is it what you decided to build? Is the PO happy with what he is going to build? Are we doing the acceptance criteria? Are there any critical bugs? All these things we can talk. But if the idea is to find who is the best developer, then send them to a coding competition. Na? Why do you want them to develop a product? If the idea is to find who is the best developer in the QA, go send them in coding hackathons or whatever crap they want to call it. Send them to these competitions. You will find out who is better between Deepak and Priya. Here you make them work for a particular team and assess the working of a team rather than individuals. Because if you are going to put pressure on people, people don't perform well here. Most of us don't handle pressure well. So instead of putting unnecessary pressure, you have to protect them from pressure so that they can perform to the best of their abilities. I mean, this is the whole idea of it. And in Monday's class, I'm going to tell you all of this is bullshit. I will tell you how to do it in hours, because if you're stuck in that company, we still have to pay our bills here. You have to say all this is, oh, Agile. No. We'll do it in hours. Ours is beautiful. That also I will tell you. Okay. So don't worry about it. The HCLs of the world and the TCSs of the world, Wipros of the world, they will ask you hours only. And you have to do it. And saying, yeah, hours work fine. No problem. We can tell you how much time it will take. We will try our best. We will do it. All those things. Don't be an idealistic. No, hours are bad. No. Whatever your bosses say is right here. To hell with ideologies. Yeah, Chavan sir.
Sir, actually, my silly question, but okay.
No.
Sorry. So the thing is that okay, specific story we have set 13 story point. Okay, 13 story point, and Kiran and I working in the. We decided as a team. We had decided 13 story point. But if Kiran is very aware about that particular, technology, sound, and all everything. But if I get that story, I will spend more time. Okay, and just minute, sir. And
We are not talking about time.
Okay.
In the
No,
estimation.
no. My question is, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay, my question is what? Okay, so Kiran will do. I mean, within a 2 days, that story where he will going to complete. Okay, but
Hmm.
if I will take 3 days or 4 days.
Okay,
Then
fine.
within a two
And
days,
that story is still the entire team assessed and said
yeah,
this is a complex story. So
yes,
let us say let's talk in terms of specific. Let's say you have to build a login functionality. Email and password is a 3-pointer. Let us say Face ID is a 13-pointer. Fine. Is that a fair this thing? Now a 13-pointer story, which is a Face ID story, whether you do it in 2 days, whether you do it in 4 days, it does not matter. It still remains a complex work.
okay,
That is the whole idea of it. You are assessing the work. You are not assessing developers
Mm.
because you want to give them that comfort that they are not being judged unnecessarily.
Okay. But the if he will do within a 2 days, then what he will do after that? Because
Again,
that period, yeah.
are you going to judge your developers? That's a different thing.
Okay.
Again, I am saying in Agile, we are not judging individual performers. We don't care about it. What individually people are doing, we don't care about it.
Mhm.
In no way we are judging the performance of one developer. That in Agile metrics also, there is no metric which judges the performance of one QA or one developer or anybody. We only talk about team metrics because you want to give that security and comfort to these people.
Okay. So after that task completion, he will take it another story like that actually, right? Immediately he can work on another story.
Now I get your question. So
Yeah.
let us say it's a 13-pointer. So now uh, Kiran says, I am going to pick that Face ID story. Don't worry, for people who are not getting this conversation, we'll do from the scratch all of this. Chavan sir has asked, so I'm answering this. So let us say there is a 13-pointer story, which Kiran says that he picks up in the sprint planning and he assesses he will be able to do it. Then there is another 3-pointer story. Kiran says, yeah, I know this 13-pointer task. I will be able to do it. And in my mind, I will be able to pull off or take one other story also. But let us say you were doing it. You would say, oh no, I'm not very comfortable with Face ID. I would only concentrate on it. I'll just take this story. So Kiran was able to pick up 2 stories, but you were able to pick up that one story. But all this assessment you are doing in your mind, each individual developer is thinking in his own mind which one he wants to do. And in his assessment, he's thinking whether he'll be able to complete that story within that sprint or not. Let us say you pick up a 13-pointer, thinking that Kiran picks up that 13-pointer, he picks up that 3-pointer also. Eventually, that 13-pointer story that he picks up runs into trouble. He has a lot of critical bugs, lot of assumptions. He took the assumption that the Face ID would work very easily in iOS, but and Android both. It turns out in iOS, it is damn difficult. Those libraries are very tough to handle. He gets into trouble. And QA raises bugs on his Android implementation also. So then in the retrospective, we figure out why Kiran thought he could do it. Then he realizes that, boss, instead of taking both Face ID implementations of iOS and Android, we should have taken only Android or iOS. And in the next sprint, we should have taken the other one. That is a learning this team makes. So initially, you are trying to understand whether you can do it or not. If you make a mistake, then retrospectives is your chance to correct that mistake for future. Similar requirement comes next time you have to enable voice recognition. Now they say, no, we will do for iOS in a separate story and then for Android in a separate story. So they learn. This is how these teams evolve. So let them pick up stories based on their thinking, and then ask them, what do you think happened? Kiran will say, oh, I thought I can do both operating systems, but it turns out, no, I can't do. So this is a learning for all the teams. Next time onwards, we'll pick up stories based on the interfaces that we use. So for mobile, it will be different. For web, it will be different, so on. They'll learn. So you will see in 5, 10, 15, 20 sprints, these people will learn, and then they will be able to accurately pick up stories which they can do in a given sprint.
Okay.
I mean, that is the whole idea.
Okay. But if you think individual level performance, then Kiran is successfully doing more stories, or he is a good
There will
performer, right?
always be people who will be more productive than the others, isn't it? Will you ever find a team where everybody is at the same level?
That is true.
You will never find it, right? So there will always be differences. So how do you handle these differences? One way of doing it is you tell, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, this is number 4. And then you will, after 4 sprints or 2 months, you will say everybody is fighting to become number 1. Nobody thinks about my product. Everybody is fighting. But you only wanted that number 1 thing. Kannadas are number 1, Punjabis are number 1, Tamils are number 1, Telugus are number 1. Everybody in India is number 1. Who is number 2? Nobody. So that is why we keep fighting with each other. Because we are all number 1. Don't you see that in how this works? Everywhere. Have you seen anybody? Jats say, oh, Jats are the best. Punjabis are the best. Padis are the best. Everybody is best. Everybody is best. Then who is the worst here? Nobody. So competition is not always a great thing. If you are going to compete with each other, then it's going to be a mess. So how do you deal with this situation? How do you deal with this situation? You say, you don't care how individual people are doing. You pick up your stories and you get better at sizing these stories. You pick up your skills. Yes, one-on-ones, you can still have those conversations if somebody is not completing their story. Let us say Kiran now is a very experienced programmer. He only picks up 3 pointers. Then obviously there is a problem. Then you will talk to him. Similarly, if somebody is not completing their stories consistently, they are not sizing it well, sprint after sprint, they are making the same mistakes, then you will coach them to be better. Rather than highlight them, they are bad, they are not doing well. That's not your role. Your role is to coach them privately and improve their skills, but in public still protect their ego so that they are not crushed and they are still able to survive in that system. Because if I'm going to insult somebody in public, I'm not helping him. I'm just making things more difficult for that person. You got this, right?
Yes, sir.
And you have to forget all of those things. These things you have to explain in good top 200, top 400 companies. For crap companies, you will still say these things in interview, but eventually you do all those toxic behavior. Who is the best? He's number 1, he's number 2, give award to this, all that nonsense. Because we have to stay in this world. But I'm telling you all the spectrums of how ideally agile should work, but what are the compromises you will have to make in real life to accommodate some of the not so good cultures.
Okay, sir. And one more question. It's not question, but sorry. I mean, I'm extending. The thing is that okay, I have given one interview today. So that question पूछा ना मुझे, तो वो लोग क्या मतलब मैं आपका हम लोग आपने जो जितना भी whatever you explain me, right? So I have explained that means for example अपना code का ये आ रहा है, conflict is there, okay, code conflict, then pair programming, then blockers वगैरह. वो बोल रहा है कि you are purely talking of this thing technical, you are not a scrum master बोलता है. तो उसको वो क्या expect कर रहा था सर? what
Huh.
he is expecting.
So what happens is sometimes these organizations, see, there is technology, which is engineering practices. Engineering, so there are two technical things. Engineering practices, how the code is developed, code review, unit testing,
Yeah,
CI/CD, all those.
SIT down and all
These are
those
your
things.
engineering practices.
Mm.
Then there are your testing strategies. What will be your code coverage? How frequently you will update your regression cases? What sort of will you let critical bugs open? How will you check the severity of a bug? So these are, one is the engineering practices, one is the testing strategies. So these two are, for some organizations, testing strategies are handled by QA manager, and engineering practices are handled by architect and leads and so on. They expect the scrum master to only take care of the processes and tools, as in how the requirements come, how we will pick it up, if team, what is the workload of the team, are there any conflicts in the team, is there any politics in the team, is the team participating in organizational events, is there a problem with senior juniors, is there a resourcing need, is there a training need, are people available on time, are they attending calls, what are the tools that they are using, are they have sufficient tools, do they need more tools, can you talk to the respective people to get those. So their role is more into the process and tools kind of a role. So it depends on the organization. I am going to tell you engineering practices, testing strategies, processes, tools, agile coaching, everything I will cover. But it depends on the organization that which of these things they will pick you for. So if I only tell you about processes and tools, then those organizations which expect you to know engineering practices, they will not take you.
Mm.
So as a Scrum Master, you should know everything, and then it depends on which organization, what role you will get into.
Mhm.
You understood, right?
Yes, yes. Right.
So, but every organization has a different need. So some organizations, they will put you with a 50-member team. They don't want you to help on coding or testing strategies. They want you to be just there as a man manager. People are available. They are following a process. They are updating Jira. How many stories are getting done? All of that aspects.
Mhm.
So they don't care much about engineering practices but there could be organizations, they have smaller teams. You could end up giving interviews for a Mercedes or a BNB Paribas or some of the better organizations. There, smaller teams, but they would expect you to contribute in all the areas. So you should have information on all the aspects.
Also, you ask actually how many team have you handled? Okay, Scrum team. Yeah.
He asked.
Yeah, yes. So I said I handle one team, but the thing is that I was in actually this thing scale agile framework. Okay, same. So actually I said okay, there are, I mean, four teams actually, and Scrum master Scrum this thing. मतलब four Scrum master was there actually, and I was participating in PI planning and all like that. Actually, I explained, but I don't know actually exactly. But
Don't
I
worry.
just so,
Don't worry. That I will explain.
and
But
every
good.
week actually we coordinate with and we discuss actually dependencies and all like that. I saw bataya usko.
No, don't worry. I will cover safe in detail. You will be able to explain well. Don't worry. Okay. So basics of estimations you have got. Hourly estimations, why it is bad, and then relative estimation, what it is, Fibonacci series. And then tomorrow we will take up an actual story and do this story pointing. Yes, Mohammed sir. And we'll also understand the concept of velocity tomorrow. Yes, Mohammed sir.
So stories we usually rate it based on the size. Okay, and so we call them as story points. But capacity sheet we do it hourly.
Forget
Okay.
about capacity sheet. What is the correlation between those two? I'll explain. Don't worry.
Okay, and
For now,
sprint
forget
is
about the capacity sheet.
okay. So my question was on that only. Like sprint is also hourly basis. So if you want to pick a story to complete in these this sprint duration, so how will you calculate it? So
Okay.
because we
Okay, so now that you have asked, let me spend a couple of minutes on it. So, see, essentially, let us say, I think once you understand the concept of velocity, this will be easier to understand. So let's wait till we get into velocity. What is velocity? Then you will understand this concept. How do we pick this?
okay.
Tomorrow we'll pick. First thing we'll get into the concept of velocity. Don't worry.
Sure.
Yes, Abhilasha, you have a
One
question?
question, yes. So we were discussing about these story points. So just one question came in my mind. Let's say there is a senior guy who always picks up like the easy story or the lesser story points. So like, should a scrum master should talk to him or her in the
Yes.
meeting or
No, no, after the
on one
meeting.
on?
Yes, yes.
Okay, but what? Even after discussion, if same things get
No,
repeated.
he picks up 3-pointer. So let us assume. So 1-pointer or a 2-pointer story is an easy story. 3-pointer is a medium complexity. 5-pointer is also sometimes medium. 3 to 5 is medium. 8 points is a complex story. 13 point is a very complex story. 20 point is a massively complex story. So let us assume that for now. So now Abhilasha's question is, there is a senior developer who picks up 2-pointer or a 3-pointer, very easy stories. Whereas he's a senior guy, he should pick up complex stories. That is what
Yes,
the
yes,
problem.
yes, yes.
I think we discussed that. You will have a one-on-ones with this guy. Ask him what is the reason, because uh, as a senior programmer, he is expected to. He cannot pick up a guest login story here. If you have 15 years of experience in Python or Java, are you going to pick up a guest login story? No, you are going to pick up a secured login or a face ID recognition or some complex story, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think as a question, this is okay, but in real life, these senior developers, they will not pick up. I mean, most of the time, unless unless there is a problem, there is some politics going on. They don't want to be in that product. They don't like their boss. There's some other. Typically, a 15-year-old, 12-year-old senior developer will never pick on stupid things, because they also themselves want to increase and enhance their skill in order to stay relevant in the organization and the job market.
And
Actually,
just
it was my practical experience in my
No,
last project. That's why
so
I was
then you have
asking.
to ask this guy, what is the reason? Why
Hmm.
are you doing it? Because as a senior programmer, you are expected to handle complex requirements. Is there a reason? Let him explain the reason.
Hmm.
And he will give you some reason. And then you will, let us say he says, I am not interested, or
Hmm.
I don't like my appraisal, I don't like my boss, whatever. And then you try to fix that issue. Of course, or let us say he does not improve in, see, your expectation is that he is going to do the complex stories.
Yes.
After you have a conversation, he still sticks to it, that he is not going to do it. Then you involve his line manager, his boss. That
Hmm.
our expectation is that unless a senior program contributes massively, we will not be able to complete complex stories, and the team will not complete its release goals or product goals. Okay.
Hmm.
Then, as a Scrum Master, you have to raise it as a concern. So you have already spoken to this person, and seems to be some issue with his appraisal or performance rating or some other whatever issue he is raising. Then can we sort it out? So then, in always, like, again, if so, you and his line manager says, again, expectation, again he does not improve, then obviously you have to find some other product project for him and find out but after, and you have to explain him that this is the expectation. If these expectations are not met, then as a Scrum Master, you are going to struggle to complete your targets and team's targets. If the team is struggling to complete its target, then obviously you will have to take some action. The action is that you have to contribute in terms of complex stories. If that isn't happening, you will talk to his boss. And if that also does not change the behavior, then you will find another product for him. But again, never scream, never say you are bad. All of that is nonsense. Don't be emotional about it. This is purely a professional talk. He may have his reasons not to. I have also not worked in a lot of different projects. I've refused to work. To hell with you. I'm not going to do. So doesn't mean I never had the ability. It meant that I wanted to, there was a different tower head I wanted to work for that guy. So I started misbehaving with this person and I got moved out. So this happens, yeah. These politics, these manipulations happen all the time. So, but you have to be professional. You are in charge of the productivity of your team. You have to find out what is the reason and how you can help in diagnosing that problem and helping this guy. If this guy does not want to change, then his boss, you, your boss, all of you have to take a decision on how to. Does that answer?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we had a good, yeah. We'll do the questions tomorrow first thing. So if anybody of you have questions, we'll do tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll get into the actual Jira tasking, what is called splitting of stories, tasking of stories, estimation of stories, all of that. Okay, I'll just do a quick poll and then we can meet tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Have a nice, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you.